My name is Keith Evans, and I'm the president here at Westminster. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet yet, I just want to offer you a very, very warm greeting, both to campus and here in Barge Commons and Blake Hall. This is, as you know, a building that has been open for just a little over a year now, and one that we are just delighted to welcome you into. We love these spaces and all that they offer for us. This is really a wonderful opportunity for us to honor some athletes who have really helped to carry on a tradition here at Westminster in our athletic program, but also to say thank you once again to the families who are represented here. We know that these athletic careers, whether they're happening right now, tonight at a football game, or at a softball game, or any other contest that we have, or happen back in our history, is a family event. There was a family, there were parents who drove to soccer games, there was a family that was there to support athletes, there was a family that took care of small injuries and big ones, a family that encouraged, and so really grateful to all of the family who's here as well, and know that you share in the success of those who we're going to induct into the Hall of Fame. I want to say too that we have shared in your success in a meaningful way over the last year. Westminster was named the #1 athletic program in the country. Public, private, small, large, doesn't matter. We were named by Max Preps as the #1 athletic program in the United States. And that is also a success story that is shared by everyone in this room who carried on the tradition, who role modeled for younger athletes what it meant to try with courage and grit, to put in the extra time and to ultimately succeed. Those kind of honors don't just come out of nowhere. They come out of people's dedication and their devotion to an athletic program like this. And so we're really very proud of that, and really proud of all of you for what you contributed to it. With that, offer my congratulations again to everyone. Thank you that you've come out for this ceremony today, and I'm going to hand over to our athletic director, Tim Downs. Tim?
Thank you, Keith. And let me add my welcome to the Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame induction of Shirley Fowler, Richmond Green, Stephen Morse, Jessica Winton, and Pete Davenport. My name is Tim Downs, your Director of Athletics, and today we salute the athletes that have brought distinction to themselves and to their alma mater. Let me begin by telling you a little bit about the Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame. It's named in honor of Charlie Breithaupt, the long-standing head of the upper school. And the Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame was established in 1972 to recognize outstanding athletic accomplishment at Westminster. It's an institution that allows us to honor our distinguished Hall of Fame athletes and induct this class of new members as an appropriate way to reflect upon how important athletics is and why athletic accomplishment matters. We're fortunate tonight to be joined by some of our distinguished Hall of Fame athletes. And so before we celebrate our inductees, could I ask our current Hall of Famers to stand to be recognized? You know, Adi, we have Dave Drake, and Rusty Hudson. Thank you all. You've shaped the pattern for our scholar athletes of today, and you've made us all better. Last week at our coaches meeting for all of our Westminster coaches, I shared a quote from a legendary football coach, Amos Alonzo Stagg, who after an exceptionally successful season at the University of Chicago, which ended up in the national championship game, was asked if this was his greatest season ever and his greatest team ever. His response, which I absolutely love, was, "Ask me that in 20 years." And this feels perfectly relevant for today, where we get to hear how athletics at Westminster helped shape the lives of Julie, Richmond, Stephen, Jessica, and Pete. And it reminds us that this is about the journey that's greater than any one moment, that's greater than any one team or any one person. While we're celebrating our 5 inductees, we're also celebrating Westminster athletics. We're celebrating the teammates, the coaches, the teachers, and the families. Knowing that they weren't alone made our inductees stronger and allowed them to achieve greatness. And this is why sports serves as such a powerful example for others. So now's the fun part. Let's share the stories and show off the accomplishments of Julie, Richmond, Stephen, Jessica, and Pete. And by way of video, let's introduce our first inductee, Julie Fowler.
Good morning, Hall of Fame Wildcats. It's really an honor, it's a privilege to be with all of you to talk about Julie Fowler upon her induction into the Westminster Athletic Hall of Fame.
She's one of the best girls tennis players in Westminster history, to put it pretty simply. I think she only lost to one opponent, a girl named Courtney Keegan from Blessed Trinity, who went on to win a national championship at Florida. Played in the U.S. Open, so she was a pretty decent player. I don't think Julie lost to anyone else. And of course, she led us to 2 state championships in 2013, 2014.
Julie was a great teammate. She always rallied the other kids. She was really tough in those pressure moments when we had those region matches, region semis, region finals against either Lubbock or Blessed Trinity. Julie would get right in everybody's face and said, "Come on, we can do this. You know you can do this. Play your very best." Especially in her junior and senior year, Julie found her leadership. She was the captain both of those years and found a way to rally those teammates before the match and after the match.
I mean, her game was just rock solid, like just no weaknesses. You know, she didn't have like tons of power, which you don't really need at the high school level, but she was just like so fundamentally sound, like perfect footwork. And like I said, just didn't have any weaknesses that opponents could exploit. Made very few unforced errors. Just a very polished player and worked super hard. You know, when she wasn't at practice, she was always at drills, fine-tuning her game.
We always remember in her senior year, we were going into the state finals. After the semifinals, which we didn't know if we would win, I think we beat Pace or Lubbock. We tended to beat both of them a lot, so I can't remember which one. But after we beat them, we had a very tough match coming up. Julie got everybody in a circle. She looked at each and every one of them. And the coaches, we were present, Ricky and Jennifer and I. She looked at each and every one of us and said, "We're not done yet." And everybody just smiled, put their fist up and said, "Yeah, let's go." And here is the state championship, one of the 2 that she won right here.
Hey, Julie, it's an honor to induct you into the Hall of Fame. It was an honor to coach you for 4 years at Westminster. You're just a pleasure to coach, not only for your attitude, but then also just for how good you were. It was a big luxury going into every match, pretty much knowing that we were going to be leading 1-0 after our one singles match. But yeah, you were a great Wildcat in every way, great teammate, awesome captain your senior year.
2 region championships, 2 state championships, an unbelievable individual record, a fantastic team record. I can't think of anybody more deserving to be in the Charlie Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame than Julie Fowler. Julie, congratulations, and go Cats!
So unfortunately, Julie is not able to join us today, but through this video, Julie is accepting her induction as an outstanding athlete.
Hi, my name is Shirley Fowler, and I was part of the class of 2014 here at Westminster. I am truly honored to have been selected as a member of the Sports Hall of Fame here, and particularly I'm grateful for the support of Mr. Scoot Diamond in this process and being nominated for this honor. Scoot's support was formative in my high school years, and his support then and since has been constant. He's such an incredible cheerleader for every student here at Westminster and all of their accomplishments. But he put his heart and soul to the tennis team in particular. To be so noticed by a member of the faculty during your teenage years, during your middle and high school years is so important. And Scoot made me feel noticed and appreciated every turn. He was actually the teacher of the first class I ever took here, my history class, first period of 7th grade. So grateful for him, start to finish, my time at Westminster, and particularly on the tennis team. I'd also really love to thank Mr. Ricky Diamond, Ms. Jennifer Timmis, who were amazing coaches during my time at Westminster, who made the team a lovely, fun experience, and who were constant supporters and cheerleaders for really every member of the team. The same goes for every member of the team and their parents. During my middle and high school years on the teams here, they had such deep love for the sport and kept it fundamentally fun and truly about the team, which is something that can easily be lost in a sport like tennis. It can be very individual and hyper-competitive. Finally, I'd really love to thank my parents, Lois and John. My dad is probably the biggest tennis lover that you will ever meet, and both certainly sacrificed a lot to facilitate the amount of time that I spent on the court for about 10 years, and also to travel with me to tennis tournaments, particularly across the South and across the country. This is nothing if not an extremely rare opportunity for a teenager, and I'm really grateful for the amount of time in particular that I was able to spend with my dad through this sport. It means a lot to me to have had the sport that I did while at Westminster overall, particularly from Scoot, and to be contacted about this so many years later is really, really lovely. So thank you all, and I'm so sorry that I'm not there in person. I pretty recently moved to Colorado and have been deep in data collection for my PhD, so I'm a little bit scatterbrained and all over the place at the moment, but have the best evening, and thank you so much for this honor, and have fun.
That's Shirley Fowler, congratulations. So by way of video, let's introduce our next inductee, Richmond Green.
Richmond Green, what a racing machine this guy is. A fierce competitor who also had fun with the sport and still does. He, in swimming, you've got to work hard, there's no hiding, right? You have to put in the hours in the pool and work hard. And he was able to tap into a level of competitiveness that not many people can shift gears into.
At the start of his sophomore year, he decided he wanted to swim in college. And so from that point forward, he started getting up about 4 or 4:30 in the morning and driving way out Shalford Road to Dynamo, working out there, then driving back here, going to school all day, then going to practice either with Higgins or back out to Dynamo. And he'd get home about 8 o'clock and do his homework and go to sleep and do it all again.
And I think that was sort of secret sauce for Richmond, for sure. Here, even at Summer League, we go way back to those days in the summer by the neighborhood pool, and he could find a level of competitiveness there and break records with his teammates, get teammates fired up. In fact, that's one thing he does for us now as a community coach. He really is able to inspire athletes to dig deep and get competitive in a way I think they don't even realize that they could do.
When he was a senior, and they had a big invitational meet out at Dynamo. And so he went out there in the morning and qualified in prelims. Westminster was swimming Baylor that afternoon, and that year, Baylor is a power in Tennessee. And that year they won the state championship in Tennessee. And so he couldn't stay for the whole meet, so Higgins let him swim like the first 3 events, and he anchored the medley relay, won the 200 freestyle against one of their best swimmers, and then hopped back up on the blocks and won the 50 and went back out to Dynamo. But that was he swam the maximum number of events he could swim here, and that's how dedicated he was to the team. And I just think I couldn't be, his mother and I couldn't be more thrilled that he's going to be included with people like Pete Higgins and Harrison Merrill and Alan Joel, and we're very, very honored and very proud of him.
Richmond, I'm super proud of you. So happy for you that you have received this honor to be in the Westminster Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Way to go, boy. Way to go. Congratulations. You earned it.
For his induction as an outstanding athlete, Richmond Green.
so much for that. Wow, I am really honored, really blessed to be here and to be included with, such an incredible group of inductees. And I grew up going to school here. I grew up down there at Turner Gym and seeing the names up on the wall, and it's pretty humbling and pretty surreal to be included amongst that group of really, really talented athletes. Went to school here for 13 years. Westminster has been a special part of my life for a long, long time. Blessed to, for the last 9 or 10 years, to be able to come back and be a community coach on the team, so I've been able to continue to contribute to the team here. Westminster Swimming has played an important part in my life, and a lot of the things that I learned while I was part of that team really have carried forward through the rest of my life and the rest of my career. I've got a variety of folks to thank. I think anybody that's been a part of sports understands that you don't achieve anything by yourself in athletics. So I wanted to just really call out a few folks who are really important in my athletic career and my life. I think the first person I want to acknowledge is somebody that can't be with us today. He's no longer with us, but I think a lot of y'all know Pete Higgins, really a powerhouse figure in the swimming world, especially here in the state of Georgia, and even around the country. He's known as one of the all-time great high school swim coaches that there's ever been. I think 40 or 45 state championships here at Westminster, countless star athletes that have gone on to do other things, really accomplished. A few of the words that come to mind when I think of Pete: kind, caring, supportive, encouraging, stern when he needed to be, and he really, I think one of his great attributes is he never lets you get too big for your britches. He had a lot of really talented swimmers swim for him, but nobody was above the rest of the team. Nobody was above the commitment to the teammates around him. He taught me a lot about humility, taught me a lot about stewardship, taught me a lot about leadership, and that's always been the competitive advantage for Westminster Swimming, was the commitment to the team. A lot of other programs around the state, around the country, they come and they go because they're really dependent on the athletes that are a part of the team. They're really dependent on that one-star swimmer or that one-star diver. And what's made Westminster, really a powerhouse for such a long time. I mean, Pete's been around, he was coaching in the 50s. And since the 50s, winning state championships. But that commitment to the team has always been Westminster's competitive advantage. And I'm proud to say that, it's continuing on to this day, his legacy. And, I think his legacy continues to live on. I get texts and calls and emails from my teammates even to this day, asking how we're doing at state and asking how the Cats are performing, because that level of excellence that he set is still, something that our swimmers try to live up to today. Wanted to thank my mom and dad. You just heard my dad talk. He was my original inspiration in swimming, national champion at Tennessee, so I think if he went to Westminster, he'd probably be up on this wall as well. He taught me to swim at a young age and taught me to love the sport, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. Also my mother, both of them were at every single meets that I ever went to, including not just Westminster, but all of my club meets growing up. And I went to the University of Georgia. I came over to Athens every Saturday or every Friday. Whenever the meet was, they were there. So really, really appreciative of all the y'all's support, and I wouldn't be where I am without you. Wanted to call out my brother. My brother's about 7 years older than me, and he was a star tight end on the football team. And I remember in elementary school looking up to him. We're about to go watch football, tonight. But I remember back then on Friday nights getting to watch him score touchdowns, and that was my original inspiration for wanting to be a star Westminster athlete. And he's always been a great supporter of me in my career. Call my sister. She's here as well. She's 39 and a half weeks pregnant right now, so really appreciative of her being here. She's due on Tuesday, so say congratulations if you get a chance. But she's only a year and a half younger than I was, so she was on the swim team with me all through high school and was always a great supporter. And she's kind of the definition of or exemplifies, how much of a family the swim team is. She married one of our teammates right over here swimming. So I want to thank my wife. she was not, I was in the picture when I was coming through high school, but we've been dating for a month, and I think the first time she ever met my mother was at a Westminster swim meet down here. And if you've ever been to a swim meet, it's not exactly football. It can be a little boring and a little humid, but she's been a great supporter of me through my coaching over here, and I'm really grateful for her. Now I want to shout out Sharon and Jan over here as well. Sharon had the unenviable task of taking over for Pete Higgins when he retired, and I think I can speak for him that he would be extremely proud of the job he'd done stewarding the program that he built and carrying on his legacy, and I think he would be extremely proud of you. And then Jan, she mentioned up there, I've known Jan since I was about 5 or 6 years old, and she's been my coach for a long, long time, and been a part of my life for a long, long time, and I wouldn't be where I am without her. But I've got numerous teammates and numerous other family and supporters and coaches and that sort of thing to thank, but just I really am grateful to Westminster and grateful for the impact it's had on my life, and I'm really honored and privileged to be a part of the Hall of Fame. So, thank you.
So we're going to hear tonight a lot of the lessons that are learned through our participation in sports, and I want to draw from a couple of those that I think are really important. The first one is, when you play sports and you're doing it in front of teammates, classmates, you're putting yourself out there with a chance to, you might succeed or you might fail. And then another one is just the gratitude of having teammates, having people support you. And so I do want to show my gratitude for our Westminster staff, who have, a lot of time and effort has gone into making this such a special ceremony. And I want your help in doing this in kind of a fun and cool way. We'll see if it works or not, but we want to give everyone 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Does anyone know what that is? You know what that is? All right. You shouldn't have said that. You just give us an example of what that is. So give us 2 claps and a Ric Flair. That's what it is. All right, so the way this is going to work, I'm going to say the person's name and their role with the athletic program, and then we're going to do 2 claps and a... There we go. All right, so Keith Evans. Keith. All right, that's a bad start. All right, Keith, so your support and your leadership for allowing us to be the '1 athletic program in the nation. 2 claps. Here we go. Natasha's not here, but she was responsible for that wonderful pregame meal and drink that we had. Natasha, okay? Eric Salisbury. Eric's in the back there. And thank you, Eric, for today's Sights and Sounds. WCAT and Daniel Searle. Daniel Searle's not here, but you see the camera in the back, and we are able to broadcast this, and Daniel will be able to send it out to everyone, so you'll have record of this event. So Daniel Searle and WCAT. Our alum, Cooper Carter, put together, he did the production of these videos. He's so talented, he's great, and we really rely on him. So Cooper Carter. Our friends in Office of Institutional Advancement, Jordan Perkle, Ansley Lynn Rulon, and Mallory McKenzie, great partnership in working with you. OIA. And our athletic staff, Katie Trainer and Jamila Jones. Jamila's back there, wave your hand. All right, thank you all very much. And so let's meet our next inductee. By way of video, Stephen Morse.
Stephen started playing football when he was like in Little League at about 7 years old, and he's always been very competitive. But Stephen always been very committed dedicated, but he loved football, he loved other sports as well.
Stephen, he was kind of one of the pillars of our program when I first started. He was a foundation. He was a big piece with a bunch of guys that said, hey, we're going to try to get this program going in the right direction, and we're going to make a name for ourselves. And he did that, and tremendously proud of him. And what was unique about him is in our offense, the fullback gets hit quite a bit. Like pretty much they're going to get hit every play, whether they have the ball or not. And then to turn around and play defense in the line where, it's, there's combat all the time. And he was durable. He stayed healthy just because of his physical toughness, his mental toughness. But he was a big teddy bear too. He's one of the sweetest guys, nicest persons you ever meet.
Stephen, congratulations on being the newest inductee into the Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame for football, wrestling, and track and field. You are a throwback. We don't have kids nowadays who can contribute at the state level in football, wrestling, as well as track and field and 3 sports. You were a huge contributor to this school, contributed to this community. You changed Westminster sports through your excellence on the field as well as off. Congratulations, brother. Proud of you. You know I love you, man.
Say, little bro, today I wore this shirt mainly because 2015 is the day we lost our dad. And the connection that I know that the 3 of us had with our dad was through football, through sports, was everything. It gave us all the life lessons, all the connections that we needed to bond. And through all of that, I say to this day, I love you with all my heart. I'm so very proud of you. I can't ask for a better little bit, brother, because you've always set standards that I've always had to try to reach as well. And I hope that I had a strong influence on you making it to this far today. Congratulations, I love you.
Stephen, just wants you to know that how proud both of your dad and I are. He's not here in body, but we know that he is here in spirit and that he is watching you. And I can tell you that his chest is really extended. Just with pride of what you've done. We're very proud of all your athletic accomplishments that you had during the years, but we are more proud of the fact of the young men you have turned out to be and how you have taken that same dedication, determination, and put it toward your profession, toward your wife and your family, and definitely for the love and dedication you have to your sons.
Big guy, but a teddy bear as well, so I'm doing my best to keep my composure up here when I'm talking about people that report each other. But most importantly, I say thank you for taking time this evening for coming to celebrate this occasion with myself and all the other inductees. To the other inductees, I want to say congratulations as well. I've been updated on your careers as well. I am very impressed and very honored to go into this class with you as well. Hall of Fame. This moment, it just seems surreal. Kind of like Richard said, instead of starting in 8th grade, I walked through Turner, I looked at the walls, I studied the athletes, and asked my coaches what they did to become Hall of Famers. And I just hoped that one day I would put together a career that would be worthy of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it was never for, look at me, my great career. It was always for my family. I just wanted to have a legacy that my kids and my wife could come someday and see a small part of my life. My parents have made so many sacrifices as well. And then the one thing I was always want to do is just make you proud. That's my number one thing, just make you proud, Mom and Daddy as well. As you know, they said before, my family's my inspiration, my source, my motivation. So I looked at that wall. It was my driving force every time. And I think we made it finally, and I hope I made you proud. My induction to the Hall of Fame can be directly attributed to the people in my life. Definitely not me, has nothing to do with my athletic abilities or any accomplishments that I have. I've had so many people pour so much into me to make it possible. My journey was filled with teachers, coaches, teammates that are here today as well, friends, even strangers that have just put something in my life that made me a better person and just helped me in my path to development. But nothing had anything to do with me, and I'm very aware of that. I look out here in this crowd today, and I see my village. I see a lot of people I spoke about that poured into me. It reminds me of a famous, real well-known African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child, and this child was definitely raised by a village. And I thank you very much for all your support, your love, and for always being there today, yesterday, and every day. I love you very much, and thank you for it. Thank you very much. And then the most important thing is when I look back on my career, I never think about touchdowns. I never think about takedowns and pins. I don't think about standing on top of the podium. I honestly focus on the people that I met. I met some really amazing people on my journey here. I think about the places that I've traveled through sports. It's been an amazing vehicle. It's taken me a lot of different places I've never gone before. I think about the challenges that made me a better man as well. I think I became better through my failures than I did my successes. I kind of look at those as the things that made me. But most importantly, I think it was the lessons that I learned from my coaches here at Westminster. And I'll just kind of give you a brief, for track and field, wrestling, and football, really quick stories about the lessons that I learned. And the lessons that I learned kind of remind me of Proverbs 22:6, where it says, train a child up in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. And the lessons that I learned as a child, I certainly have not departed from it. And just briefly, I'll say, football. The first lesson I learned is humility, but it's also about perseverance. In my 8th and 9th grade years, I had a good deal of success here. I came into 10th grade as a running back, and my idea of a fullback and a running back was a 250-pound running back, like Jerome Pettis, my favorite. But Coach Rumberg was new. His idea was a 205-pound running back. So we had a little bit of a disagreement about what an ideal running back would be. Needless to say, long story short, 14 games later into my career, I was not a running back. I put my head down, I played offensive line, defensive line, and during that time I became a better teammate and a better person and a better leader. The most important thing was kind of put my head down and said, if you just stay prepared, if you stay ready for your opportunity, you'll be ready when it comes. My opportunity it came my junior year. I took advantage of it. It never let go. So the most important thing it just taught me was just, be a good teammate, do your job, and your time will come if you persist, but never pout, never hang your head. For track and field, Coach Cutbirth, Coach Berry, Coach New, they set an environment that today in sports we have these environments where kids are never allowed to fail, they're not allowed to make mistakes, they're not allowed to ask questions, there's so much pressure. They put us in an environment. I had 2 of my coaches that were my New Testament coach and my Old Testament coach, teachers. So as you can imagine that environment, the conversations that we had in that track, they were about life, they were philosophical, and they were conversations that made us grow. I felt we grew as people. I think the most important part is they made an environment where Coach Coburn said we could fail. I think that if you're allowed to fail, then you're allowed to succeed. And I always felt like I was free to fail. So I was always, comfortable to succeed. And I thank you for that, Coach Cutbirth, very much for that environment. And I try to mimic that today with my youth teams. I try to keep the environment friendly and free to fail. And then lastly, for wrestling, I have Coach Larimore, Coach Kiefer. These are the individuals that I met, and Coach Isaac as well. That I met my 9th grade year. I never honestly wanted to wrestle. They were amazing coaches and amazing people that really supported me and looked after me, and that was my give back, honestly. I wanted to be a part of their team, to give something back to them for all they did to me to make my transition to Westminster so easy. I feel like our intervention, the fact that I met them, I feel like it was divine, a divine intervention. We built a very, very, very special relationship here, even after and to this day. I think the biggest lesson I learned from them was every year I would come to Coach Keeper and Coach Larimore and tell them I was quitting. Every single year I said, okay, now it's my time to focus on football. I want to be a football player, I want to track. I've given you my wrestling, I can't do it anymore. And they would tell me the same thing every year, Stephen, you say the same thing every single year. You know you love it. But the most important thing, you have one problem. You started it, so now you can't quit. And every time I go home, I lay down and I say, they're right. I started something, I can't quit. But the big thing is that carries over to this day. I teach my children, I teach the kids on my teams, and I still live by it to this day. If I started, I don't quit. I make sure I see things through. And those are some really valuable lessons I learned here at Westminster. And to wrap up, I just want to also just thank the people, my mother. I just want to thank you, Mom, for all the sacrifices that you made, allowing me to come to Westminster, driving an hour to an hour and a half every day on one trip. That's just one way. Making sure I was here on time and making sure I was present with everything done. And just also being present. Every time I looked up, I wanted to see and needed that support. And I always saw you there with your smile and your support. To my father, who's not here with me in body, but he's certainly here in presence. I can feel him. I just want to say, as my brother said, he was a huge part of my career. He was there every single day, every single practice, kind of how I am with my boys. He was on the chain gang for every game, so we were on the field together for football games. He attended every practice. He attended every game. My coaches gave him the scouting reports on Friday before I got there. So I got the call on Friday. He had the entire scouting report. He would go through me what I need to do on Friday, what I need to look out for. So he was really involved, and I miss him dearly, but certainly this is for him. So my brother, thank you for always having my back, man. You've always been there for me. And you say little big brother, but I just want to tell you, I've always looked up to you. You taught me everything I know. And I know I always would have won the 6th jersey because it was Jerome Bettis, my favorite player, but the only person I ever wanted to be like was you. I have always loved and admired you, man, and honored you, and I hope I made you proud as well, your little brother. Okay. And then just last, I just want to say in conclusion, man, thank you again to my family, friends, coaches, everyone who's been a part of this journey with me. It's certainly not me alone because of my village. All things are possible, but most importantly, I want to accept this induction on behalf of my classmates from the years of 1992 to 1998, to my football teammates at Centertown Football, and everybody along the way, my teammates at Colgate University. It's been an awesome journey, and thank you for coming tonight and celebrating with us. Thank you.
Let's meet our next inductee, Jessica Wynn.
Hi, I'm the proud mom of Jessica Wynn, who is being honored here today, which I'm just so pleased about. She has been playing soccer since she was 4 years old. She's played from 4 until she graduated from college. So that's a lot of soccer.
I'm honored to be able to speak about Jessica because I was an opposing coach. I wasn't her coach. I was the coach at Walton High School, and she's very special. I think to this day, I've been coaching soccer for 35 years. I don't think I've seen a player like her that can score goals. We call him the number 9. I don't think I've seen a center forward quite like her since those days. She's that good.
She was very concerned, just, 9th grade, and she was obviously the youngest and the smallest out there. So, but then they handed her Westminster bag, and I guess it's the travel bag, and it had the jersey, and then it had everything in there. So then I took her over to Eagle Houston's. We put the bag in the extra seat. She could not take her eyes off that bag for the whole night, and just how excited she was to be on the varsity. And she started her first game the next day over at Parkview, and she scored 3 goals. And coach told her that nobody had scored 3 goals at all of last year. She'd done it in the first game. He was very supportive. Obviously, I'm very proud of her. It was one of the goals I had when I first saw the sign up in the gym. And I wanted to see her name up there.
She's just a spark. When she was on the field, she was so fast, she could outrun everybody on the field. And, it was wonderful watching her pass the ball back and to her left or to right, or her teammates that were on either side, and they would score. She realized it, and we all realized that soccer was, of course, a team sport, and it just happens that she scored so much.
Sometimes you can see someone and you go, oh, we'll just make a play to their left foot, or they're always going to do this move. It was something different all the time. Sometimes it was her taking it herself. Sometimes it was her combining with another player. Sometimes it was her switching the point totally and then drifting into a great spot to finish. She just has a nose for the goal, and I don't think I've seen quite a finisher.
The varsity football coach here at Westminster came to Jessica and asked her if she would be the kicker for the varsity team. Now, I thought that was fabulous. I wanted her to do it. Of course, she was just you couldn't believe it. She said, "Oh, Mother, I can't do that."
So Jessica, it was a great honor to talk about you, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you today and relishing this moment of honoring you and your accomplishments at the Westminster schools. Congratulations.
As a mom, we all realize how special she is. She is to me and to our family, and we are all so proud. And I'm going to cry. I don't want to do that. She's given us so much joy through her life, and continues to. And I want to thank Westminster, all of you here, for this huge honor of inducting Jessica into the Westminster Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Let's welcome Jessica for her induction as the outstanding athlete.
Emotional. I cry about everything, so I'm going to try my best here. I just hobbled up onto the stage because I have an ACL injury, so it really grounds you that you're 20 years from when you were all of that. Anyways, thank you so much. I am incredibly honored to be here today. This is a little surreal. I think it is for all of my fellow inductees. This is wild. So I first wanted to thank, of course, Athletic Director Downs. Thank you so much. Coach Loughran, this means the world to me. I know that you put my name in that room, and I am very, very humbled by that. And of course, I want to thank the selection committee for saying yes, she deserves to be up here, and you know, all of that. So that's really, it means a lot. This is an honor. You know, we've known this since we went to high school here. All of us that are being inducted. It is a tremendous list of athletes in that athletic hall, and we've been looking at it since we were all about this tall, hoping that one day we could, you know, be up on that wall. So it means a lot to me. Mom and Dad, thank you. I mean, that was quite an induction. You know, just like I think all of us that play sports at this level, you know, I couldn't really function without my mother and father at each game. You know, I'd get onto the field, I'd look up, I'd see my mom gabbing with all of the other parents, and I'd see my dad take his spot in whichever goal I was going to be playing at, and that centered me. That was my center. Okay, my dad's there, he's going to be screaming to me about goal scoring in a good way, and my mother's up there talking, and that was what I needed to start any game. So thank you guys. I couldn't have done it without you. It was games, it was going from Washington, it was traveling teams, it never stopped. So without them, like any of us, I could not have done this. When I flew, actually, even when I got into UCLA, I went to play UCLA for my first year of soccer, and my parents even flew out to every single game that I played, UCLA or Oregon or anywhere in the Pac-10. They never have missed a game I played in my life. And without that, I don't think I'd be sitting here, so this is for all of us. So I think, you know, when I found out that I was gonna get into this, it has been like a nostalgia ride for me. This was almost 20 years ago that I was doing this. It's, you know, I was so excited when I got the letter from Tim about actually being inducted, and when I heard about this, it has just been nonstop, like, otherworldly, really. You know, when you look back about playing on this field and being this young and not hobbling up to, you know, having normal knees. It's been a really incredible ride for our family, and I think brought us to a really wonderful and beautiful nostalgic place for us, all of us. I have everyone that's important to me in my life right here from my childhood. So it's been really special for me, and I'm very grateful. So thank you guys. I think that Westminster, and I know I'm kind of echoing, I think, my fellow inductees, is that this is a very special place. I'm spending my adolescence here in these halls and on that soccer field was a gift. I mean, I was humbled the day that I walked onto this campus when I was a 6th grader, and I'm humbled standing right here, right now. It is a place with magnitude that you just cannot believe that you are lucky enough to be a part of kind of this journey of all the history here and all the people here that go on to do incredible things. And it's special, and I think kind of mind-blowing a little bit. And we all know the elite institution that Westminster is, and it's obviously beautiful, and we know all of this, but it's really because of the teachers and the coaches and my classmates and my teammates that make this such a special, special place. I also didn't mention who's very important to me, Donna Hayes. There's someone who's been here since I started here. When I walked in today, a little bit overwhelmed of being here. It was an immediate comfort, and that is from like 30 years ago. You know, that kind of comfort, and that's what coaches and the people here have done for me. Playing at Westminster was one of the greatest gifts in my life. It's truly shaped who I was. And again, just taking a little bit of what you guys have said, which is so true, is that being on that field and being kind of having access to this world and these people has shaped the actual human I am today. And that is true. That is not just a cliche thing that we say up here because we're up here, but it is true. It is a special, special experience that we've been given. I'm trying to find out all of the stories or what I can really share about my experience here. And I think that one of the most important experiences from being here is almost when I found out I could come to this school. I remember the day that I was actually found out I was going to be attending Westminster. I was in my current elementary school, and you know, we were kind of waiting, just hoping that I was going to be able to come here and be at this school. And my parents both drove up to the school Holy Innocents I was attending at the time. They both drove up, and I was like, that's a good sign. I knew that it was going to be happening soon. It's like almost like college videos that we watch now where kids are getting into school. But anyways, they pulled up around the circle. My dad and mom were both there. My mom, you know, she said, get out of the car, come around here around back, and she popped open the trunk. And it was like a sea of green and white. She had bought everything I think you could buy from the student store, from sweatshirts to t-shirts to binders. And you know, I was only a baby. I was in 5th grade, and I just started crying. Joy, gratitude. And I really have the same gratitude that day as a little baby Jessie to I do as an adult woman today. This school has given me a lot, and this soccer team and this program and these wonderful people and coaches. It just doesn't get this good. It's truly, truly, I am so grateful. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Let's introduce our next inductee, Pete Davenport.
When I think of Pete and reasons for him being inducted into the Hall of Fame, there's really 3 that stand out for me. One, he is the epitome of the educator coach. He's a consummate professional, and he's what I consider a true servant leader. Those are the 3 pillars that I think make Pete who he is. Certainly everybody knows Pete is a family man. He's a man of faith, and he's a man of integrity.
You can't build a program like Westminster has had over all these years without having really outstanding coaches. And Westminster wouldn't hire you unless you also were going to be an outstanding teacher. Pete was a tremendous math teacher, and then he became even better in technology.
If you boil it down to just his coaching, 43 years as a 7th grade coach. You're talking about a man that has been the foundation of Westminster basketball for 43 years. And out of those 43 years, he has played for 25 league championships. He's won 11 league championships. He's won 365 basketball games. And again, the record speaks for itself.
In many ways, the reason Westminster is such an outstanding national athletic program is because of the Pete Davenports of the world that have been here. So Pete is he's part of the foundation of the success of Westminster as a whole, period.
Pete, I'm so happy for you. I can't think of someone that deserves this honor and recognition more. Not only do I think of you as a colleague, but more importantly, I think of you as a lifelong friend. I will always treasure and value the time that I've spent with you as a coaching colleague, but again, more importantly, as a friend.
Pete, I'm awfully happy that you're being inducted in the Hall of Fame. It's well deserved and overdue. You did a fantastic job of what the school asked you to do. You didn't just do it to be an acceptable manner, you did it in an exemplary manner. And all of the kids that you were associated with in coaching basketball, coaching soccer, teaching them math, all of those kids that were associated with you, they simply are better off today because part of their lives were filled with a little bit of Pete Davenport. And sports fans, that's what it's all about. So congratulations.
Induction as an outstanding coach.
Wow. Really humbled. When I got the letter saying that I was going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, I was a bit stunned. Because when I think of the Hall of Fame, I think of the amazing athletes that I've coached over the years. How hard they've worked to achieve their best. How much harder it is for athletes at Westminster with the responsibilities they have as a student. I know in my own playing days of high school and college, I had to work hard, but I don't think I worked as hard as Westminster athletes have to work, both on the field, off the field, and in the classroom. So there's also been a number of great coaches that have received recognition here, so I consider it the highest honor to be numbered among such accomplished individuals. When I came to Westminster in 1979, they gave me the rookie coaching assignment. My first year I coached the 8th grade B basketball team. I think we won 2 out of 3 games. That's all I coached. Then they found out that I had once played in a soccer game, so they let me coach soccer as well. While I knew quite a bit about playing basketball and had watched a lot of soccer, I was truly a rookie when it came to coaching. But I guess I did well enough that they asked me to come back the next year and then for 42 more years. Along the way, I coached at several different levels, but I kept coming back to the middle school, perhaps because I saw the opportunity in working with boys that I also taught in the classroom, and I believed I could have an impact on their development, both as athletes and young men. Coaching is a lot like teaching. Even if you know your subject area, there's always more you can learn about the game and how to instruct and motivate. I learned from my fellow coaches, my players, from the practice and game situations we faced. It took me a while to figure out that the positive outcome of any particular game or season was not due to any brilliance on my part, but was much more dependent on the performance and teamwork of my athletes. So my job was to teach, motivate, and encourage them, and then trust them to perform the way that we practiced. Often my teams would win despite my shortcomings as a coach, and when they did not win, I tried to figure out how I could have prepared them better
or made better coaching decisions during the competition. You would think after doing this for so many years I would have the perfect system, but while I'm older and wiser, best I can say is I'm much more aware of my own limitations. And I've learned a bit about how to overcome them. There are a lot of people I want to thank for their support over the years. First of all, I want to thank God for giving me the ability as an athlete and then as a teacher and coach to persevere in my career for so many years. Longevity in any career is not a given, and I feel blessed to have had the opportunity to teach and to coach for so many years. I want to thank the various athletic directors and athletic staff that have worked behind the scenes to support me and my fellow coaches over the years. I think Bob Ward was one of the first athletic directors. More recently, I've benefited from the leadership of Rusty Hudson and Tim Downs. Thanks to the people like Jamila Jones, Thomas Morse, Donna Hayes, and so many others who work behind the scenes to make sure that everything is scheduled and set up for our athletic programs. I also want to thank the varsity soccer and basketball coaches I've served with, going back to Bob Sims and Bob Ward, a few years ago with Scott Snyder, and most recently with Trey Malloy. Trey, I appreciate you more than you know. Even though you're still getting me to help you with your coaching spreadsheets. There are lots of other colleagues and coaches that I want to thank. Betsy Spruill, Rick Hughes, Mark Cupworth, and so many more. I'm pleased that one of my former players, Chad Laney, who's now a Westminster coach, he coached my son Mark a few years ago. Thanks to Alan Ray from the Buckhead Rotary League, who's here tonight. To my friend, fellow coach and brother in Christ, Gary Jones. Keep up the good fight and continue the important work of equipping your students and athletes. Thanks to my wife and 3 children for your support over the years. While I loved the opportunity to coach and give up myself to the game, family matters more than anything you do in your career. I was blessed to coach all 3 of my children at some point in their youth, and those experiences were probably my favorites. Of course, thanks to the 1,000 or so athletes I've coached in my career, I pray that the lessons learned in practice and competition have served you well in your life beyond Westminster. I love coaching sports, but believe the purpose of competition is to develop the qualities that will prepare you for life's challenges. I hope I had a small part in that process for the athletes that I coached. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. To Julie, Richmond, Stephen, Jessica, and Pete, welcome to the Breithaupt Athletic Hall of Fame. Before we adjourn, I wanted to give the inductees and everyone here a couple instructions. For the inductees and their families, you'll meet Jamila Jones by that back door, and we'll move down to Turner Gym for our photos in the Hall of Fame. And then everyone is invited to the chicken dinner, and then to join us in the stadium, in the conference room on the press box level. We'd love for you to join us, and for our newest Hall of Famers, you will meet myself, on the track at the start of halftime, and we'll be able to recognize you towards the end of halftime in front of our football crowd tonight. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing us to honor you, and congratulations. This concludes our ceremony.